Miami, 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 Miami. It feels like Miami.
Welcome to the Heapy Podcast. I'm your host, Giancarlo Navas. I'm with me today. It's producer, co-founder Brian Goins. Brian, I don't feel like you get to say that much anymore.
You know how it is, man. Once I'm available, I try to come on as much as I can, but you know how the schedule is sometimes. And you guys pod way too much, so it's like I can't do every single show. I don't know how you do it, to be honest.
A far cry from the once-a-week show that Miami
Listen,
Heat
when we started Miami Heat, however many years ago, we were doing just one show a week, and it was tough enough.
Yeah, and now
I don't know how you guys are doing 4 shows a week, and Alf, especially, he's doing like 3 hangover times in a week. Like you get to host maybe once or twice a week. But Alf, holy shit, he's a workaholic. He needs a break every once in a while.
Yeah. Well, listen, I've been on like 3 straight. Tomorrow I'm taking a day off.
Do it. Voice you hear right now is Mr. Drip Top himself, Moose.
What's going on, people? Gotta hit
Alex
on
Musiby. One time. No, that's not as good. You're way better at it. You and Brass.
Yeah, Brass is really fantastic at the drip drop call. It's the only reason I'm okay.
Lessons.
It's the only reason I'm okay with him, winning the award.
Listen, chat's asking, what are we drinking? That's not the show. Listen, we're a serious program.
I just got
Zero.
Fiji water. Look at Moose.
In fact, I got 2 drinks because I'm almost done with this one, and just in case, if my throat clears up.
I have empty Zephyr Hill. So, guys, we have a ton to get to today. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Can you please subscribe? Our views constantly outdo our subscription numbers. And honestly, that means the world to us that you're even watching. But if you hit subscribe, that helps us a ton in terms of algorithm. And to keep this going, I mean, the better our numbers are, the more that we can provide the audience and the more resources we get. So I really appreciate if you guys hit that subscribe button, hit likes, because it really helps our algorithm. And if you're a pod listener, man, you're OG. Thank you so much. You know and to our audience on Twitch, we love you. If you're not watching live, why are you not watching these live? Hangover Time, Weird Alf pregame show, Miami Heat Beat. So get in live.
You guys in the comment section. So you can comment and keep it up, because you guys are honestly like just making us laugh. We share the stuff in our internal like group chat. We get a kick out of what you guys share on the comment section. So keep it up.
Yeah. Even if we don't, because I sometimes struggle keeping up with the comments while we're doing the show, but I will admit I go back and read them. All of them are hilarious, so please.
Twitch chat too. I was talking more to YouTube chat, YouTube comments. Twitch chat always comes through.
But
the YouTube comments lately have been on fire, and I feel like it's because you guys are finally trying to interact with our fan base on the YouTube comments.
We got to highlight some of the YouTube comments because they've been really funny lately. Because I mean, we always give love to Twitch chat, so we gotta give love to some YouTube comments. All right, guys, enough about ourselves. We cover a 5-1 team right now. Number 1 in several power rankings this morning. I saw the Athletic. They were number 1. They were number 2 in the NBA power rankings behind Utah. Number 1 in Basketball Reference. So like their Moose, they look incredible. They won that game in Memphis on the second night of a back-to-back against a young team. They always lose that game. That's a game that they always have lost, even when they've been good, because that's just, young team, second night of a back-to-back, the Heat are a little bit older. Bam didn't play, so the recipe was a disaster.
You had every reason to expect a loss. And that's not even taking a shot at them. That's just what we've grown accustomed to.
It just is, right? So they go in, they win. They've won 4 straight, and I don't know how many 4-game winning streaks they had last season. It might have been 1 or 2. Right. Thankfully, Max Strus looks like he's going to be okay, according to Spo. I think he said his MRI came back negative as well. So that's good.
6 weeks.
Yeah. Let's see.
So
that's a joke. That's not serious. Yeah, that's a joke. In case you guys are not familiar with our bits.
You remember that. Chad wants us to talk about Deadman. We're going to get into that later. But I do just want to get to how freaking spectacular they've been. How, that win at Memphis, they've beaten a bunch of bad teams. I tweeted out earlier. So Dunks and Threes, it's a great website. If you don't subscribe to them, it's like a $5 paywall. They're really good. They have like a lot of like stats and stuff, and one of them is like their own strength of schedule metric. the Heat have had the 4th hardest schedule in the league so far. That makes sense, right? They play the Bucks, they play all these really good teams, and yet they're leading the league in net rating. They're outscoring teams by 16 points per 100 possessions. They're on a win pace for 73 or 74 wins. Obviously, that's not going to keep up, right? Because their point differential is that crazy good. But like at Moose, like it's insane what they're doing. Like statistically, eye test, everything. This team is as good as we've seen a Heat team since LeBron's been here. Straight up.
They are exceeding every expectation that we had for them. And you can even say as fans, we are unrealistic. And guess what? We're getting unrealistic outcome right now. Like this, it's like you said, G, this isn't going to last the entire year, but they are far and away so much better than last year. And that goes on both sides of the ball. I can't say enough what Kyle Lowry has brought to this team defensively. And G, that has been something that you have been preaching since the day I met you. But I'm going to throw this back to you now, G. Is it fair to say you weren't even expecting this hot of a start? All around, the impact that he has made on both sides of the ball has far and away been what I thought it would be, especially at the start.
So for me, and I said this a bunch, like in our pods leading up to the season, I thought they could have like the best defense in the league, right? I said top 4 is like I'm like, we're looking top 4, possibly top 1, right? If their other guys look good too, because what Kyle does, and I tweeted about this the other day, he allows Jimmy and Bam to play offensive defense, right? Because before they were very reactionary, right? Bam and Jimmy had a top 7 defense last season. And I know we all said it was smoke and mirrors, but they were legit good because Jimmy and Bam are incredible and they cover up for everybody's mistakes. And last season, their defense was plugging leaky holes on every play. And it was like guard gets beat on the drive. Jimmy has to come help. Jimmy's working the nail. We all talked about that all year. Bam is switching all over the place. This year, it's different because Kyle provides them the missing piece of their defense, which is a really good point of attack defender, a guy who you put on ball, who you can switch smaller actions. And if teams want to get him switched onto bigger guys, that's typically not a win. I mean, let's not forget that Kyle always defended Jimmy Butler, who's just like bigger than him because he's just not going to get bullied on the block and stuff like that. So he really allows Jimmy and Bam to be aggressive on that end, take chances, take risks, because even if they fuck up, their backs are going to be held.
They're covered. Yeah.
Yeah. And it lets Tyler survive, right? It lets Tyler Duncan units survive, right? And what I didn't expect was the offense. I mean, they have one of the best offenses in the league. They have the 6th best half-court offense, and they're not shooting the ball well. That's absolutely freaking... Brian, yeah, you're laughing, but that's insane. That
I was looking at 3-point shooting numbers, and they're a top 10 3-point shooting team, even though they pretty much have had really bad shooting nights besides the first game of the season, the last game they just played.
And Memphis,
that's crazy. I mean, and like, I think these numbers, I mean, again, Halloween was yesterday. So a lot of these numbers don't mean too much of anything, but I mean, this is what we have right now. And eye test passes it. Everything passes it. They look.
Oh, I've been shocked seeing have you been looking at the 538 projections going up after every single win?
No, I haven't.
They're projecting the Heat to go up. They're projecting the Heat to finish with 51 wins, 3rd in the East, or actually no, 2nd in the East. They have them 3rd, and they have, I don't know why they have Philly above us still, but they have Philly 2nd, and then Milwaukee 1st.
Like Philly a ton. If they're projecting,
I don't understand it.
Simmons, yeah, and I think.
Well, I mean, Simmons and now Tobias Harris is actually going to be out for a few games with COVID. It looks like. Tobias Harris.
Oh,
he's in the safety. He's health and safety protocol now, so he's gonna miss tonight's game and probably a couple more. But yeah, I was just looking at the projections, and like they have them like at least with 51 wins right now, and it's gone up since the start of the season because I've been kind of looking every once in a while every time that he have a big blowout lead, it seems like they're just gonna give him an extra win.
I mean, they're beating the brakes off everybody.
They are. It's amazing, and right now their finals I think is like the percentage chance of them making the finals went up to about 13 or 14% at the moment. So,
what I thought was crazy?
They're up there with the top 6 teams.
Brian, do you listen to JJ Redick's podcast?
Yeah.
So he had an episode the other day, and they were talking about kind of like how Jimmy is not really affected so much by the foul rules because Jimmy doesn't really try to game the system. But more importantly, in the middle of that conversation, JJ just casually said, "Yeah, the Heat have a ton of depth," which is kind of funny for someone to say that because if you were to peg a weakness earlier in the season, you would have been like, "Oh, they're thin as fuck," right? Like, how are those bench units going to survive? And it's just been, I'm not going to say that they're deep and they're like amazing, like, but the bench units, the bench mob has been amazing. I know Brady Hawk wrote a piece about them on 5 Reasons. You should check that out. Brady's super good. But like, it's just, Deadman has been an anchor for them, can give them spot starts. They just have a bunch of dudes contributing. I gave Markieff Morris a lot of shit, but he really finds ways to kind of help out. Like, Moose, I see you like nodding your head. Like, obviously your boy Drip Drop, they just, they fit,
it goes past Drip Drop. I mean, obviously he's having a phenomenal start to the season. If you saw my Moose at the Movies superhero summer review, you'll see that he put in the work. But I mean,
that was so great, by the way. Please watch that. If you guys have not watched
so
the last Hangover Time, it just skips the last 5-10 minutes of the show. I mean, the rest of it's good too, but the last 5 to 10 minutes, easily the most Hottie nominated thing that we've put out so far for season 2.
Wow, that's high praise, Brian. I appreciate that. And back to what I was saying though, it even goes past Tyler Hero. Like, every single player that steps on this floor wearing a Miami Heat jersey is contributing on both sides of the ball. We could go from the list. I mean, I hate to start with Max Strus because we're obviously with the injury, but that's what I mean by bench players that are affecting the game on both sides. He's hitting shots when we need him to, and he's playing serviceable enough defense to give Jimmy some breathers and to be able to come back in and continue playing at that elite level. Everybody is affecting the game, to use a Spoism, is making winning plays and contributing to that W. And it's beautiful. We didn't see that last year. Last year very much felt like we had 2 people and that was it.
I really think that the crux of their bench units are like Hero, Deadman, right? I think those are the 2 guys that come in and really kind of settle the second unit. Those 2 together, plus 30 net rating, 128.39 offensive rating.
That's insane.
That unit, and that goes back to last season. Deadman was leading every statistical. The Jimmy Deadman 1-2 was like plus 30 as well in limited minutes, but Deadman is on the floor and they're clobbering teams. The Heat are like, I forgot if it was cleaning the glass. Yeah, it was cleaning the glass. They're offensive rebounding 30% in the half court. Wow. That's how you have a good offense. They're middle of the pack in turnovers, which I think you're going to have when you push the ball a lot like Lowry does. So they relatively take care of the ball. They get to the line, I think the 7th or 8th most in the league, adjusted per 100 possessions. So adjusted for pace, they're a top 10 free throw team. They're like a decent turnover team. They're an elite. They're like, I think, right behind Utah as the best offensive rebounding team. And that's how you get a good offense, right? So last year, let's look at last year. They had no rim pressure. They didn't get any free throws. They were the worst offensive rebounding team in the league. And they were shooting was meh. Now, look, the script has flipped, and the shooting's not really there yet where we know it could be. Because Tyler, I don't even think Tyler's hit the 40% mark, which we know he can, and Duncan as well, right? So when those 2 guys, and I think, if Kyle has a 35, percent season, I think you take that. I don't think, he's had some 40% years. He's not like this marksman, but he's good enough that you have to guard him, especially because he's good off motion. So they have some things cooking, and they haven't even hit their stride offensively yet. And there's not a ton that you look at and you're like, that's unsustainable, right? Obviously, they're not going to have a plus 16 net rating. That part's unsustainable, and they're going to have health issues, and Jimmy's going to have some bad shooting nights, right? So like that, some of that stuff is going to even out. But like for like the bulk of what they do, Moose, that shit feels real. And it feels like they can continue that and build off that, and they can get even better.
Gee, for this past 4-game winning streak, Tyler Hero has shot 43.5% from 3 on 6 attempts.
Yeah, he's been great. He's been fantastic.
He's been great.
He's been phenomenal.
I also saw JJ Redick compare Tyler Hero to Lou Williams, and I go, finally, people are coming around to my takes on draft night.
Tyler's better. Tyler Hero's better. That's what I meant to say.
I mean, Lou Williams is really good. Lou Williams averaged like 20-something in this league. Like, Lou Williams is a good fucking basketball player. Lou Williams anchored playoff offense.
Great basketball player.
Yeah, Lou Williams is like the offensive hub of that Clipper team that like scared the fuck out of the Warriors that one year. Like, so yeah, chat's mad at me. Hero Lou, chat's mad at me for even suggesting that. But like what they're doing is good. Their bench is solid. They're rebounding like crazy, which is like, I think that's the one thing that you can look at and be like, obviously they're not going to rebound at a 30% clip, but like they have dudes that fucking offensive rebound. Markieff Morris, Dwayne Dedmon, Bam doesn't have to switch anymore all the time. So they're getting defensive rebounds. And they're not giving up on the offensive glass. Heat are like super good at points off of opponents' turnovers. And they're like really good at defending their own turnovers. I think they're like bottom 5 in opponents' points off their turnovers, and they're top 5 in points off opponent turnovers. So you kind of get all that together, and you're like, oh, yeah, it makes sense. Like they're doing, you don't look at them and you're like, that shit does make no sense.
No, absolutely.
The rebounding doesn't make sense, to be honest. I still don't understand how
the offensive rebounding.
Besides Bam, it's insane how the rest of the team is, even without Bam this last game, they still out rebounded Memphis, and Memphis was pretty much leading every single game they played in rebounding. They just find ways to get the rebounds, and it's probably mostly, I think most of the rebounds they're getting is because their defense has been so fucking good that they're causing the other team to miss shots, and so a lot of the rebounds are not like the same rebounds you normally would get in a shootout.
The offensive rebounding is what's crazy.
That's true. That's true.
Because it's Jimmy getting to the cup a lot. Yeah. Right. So Jimmy's not so they're not running that handoff shit, and they're not like flinging threes like crazy anymore. So those long rebounds are now like stuff at the rim. And they have pretty good spacing because of Duncan and Kyle, and Kyle really operates up top. Kyle's a good rebounder as well. They have PJ. PJ's really been helpful for them.
He's so good at boxing out.
PJ's phenomenal.
His fundamentals.
And he's good. He knows when to be at the top of the key to get that long rebound. And that's like something that I noticed that they didn't have last season, because that rebound would go and teams would bolt, right? And then you're backpedaling, you're fouling and whatever. Now they have dudes in good positions. They're not over switching, which was an issue for their defensive rebounding. Kyle allows Jimmy to cut. And when you're cutting and when you're off the ball, you're just naturally closer to the basket, right? So you're going to be able to rebound your own miss and stuff. And then Kyle's just a good rebounder too. So it just, the natural order of this team has really kind of, Brian, it's really like come into place with the addition of Kyle, with PJ, even. Listen, I've talked my shit about Keith, even with Keith. They've been good, man. They've been good on that end.
Gee, I have a question. Mm-hmm. I want to get your thoughts on this. I've heard a lot of people try to compare PJ Tucker to Jay Crowder, but I feel like there's another player in the Heat's past history who's actually been on multiple finals teams with the Heat, who I feel probably ranks better with, with this comparison. Yeah, go ahead.
Is it going to be Shane?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a lot of Shane.
I could see that.
Shane's just a better shooter than PJ, right? And like Shane had more range. Shane was,
but the shots he's getting off, they're very similar.
Oh, they're super. And Brian, that's a great comp. That's fantastic, because I think PJ provides a little less shooting, but a little better kind of help rebounding. Shane was also a little younger, so I think his defense was also a little better. And you can kind of put him on I guess they still put him on. I mean, they put him on Durant this year. So yeah, that's a great comp. What are you gonna say, Moose?
And minus the shooting, I think it's even a better pair for Adebayo. Like, I think we can't overstate enough. G, you brought it up. The fact that they don't have to switch on everything, that is making it so much easier for Bam to, one, get the rebound, and two, play the way we want him to play, which is just be the most dominant man on the floor. Now he can just stay in one spot and continue to be aggressive.
And Bam has been in like so many good positive scoring positions, and I know he didn't play against Memphis, but and I've talked about this on Twitter, like he catches the ball in like on the low block in the mid post. He's not running those revolving doors of dribble handoffs that they did last season. So you get him closer to the bat, and that's part of why their offensive rebounding is better too, because you have Bam, their offensive rebounding. He's not running a handoff set for a shooter, right? Because like once Duncan or Tyler come off that handoff, that shit's going up, and Bam's gonna crash the boards, but he's not gonna be in good position. But now when you run different stuff, and a lot of times they do a Kyle Duncan handoff, right? So they do stuff like that, and sometimes like they'll run like DHOs into stagger screens for Duncan. They'll do like a lot of really interesting things to kind of get him in motion and to get Bam below the basket. So they're kind of really emulsifying what really made them good in the last 2 years, like the good parts, and then like kind of taking like more traditional things and be like, okay, what were our weaknesses? How can we improve them? And what you get is a team that's fucking clobbering the league. And their schedule's hard this week. They play the Mavs tomorrow on Tuesday. They play a Celtic team that, as much as we want to meme the Celtics, those games aren't free. And
they play us hard
on Saturday, and then I think they play Denver on Monday, right? So you get, that's a fucking
Utah
gauntlet,
game,
right?
That Utah game
is going to be fucking
at
fire.
home too. Oof, that's gonna be fun.
that's gonna be a huge
home
game
on a drip drop Saturday.
On a Saturday night. Yep.
That one I'm excited for. I'm super pumped for that. Yeah. So
I might go to that.
We said earlier that like, okay, if they come out of this 500, we'll be happy. I mean, that's obviously.
Oh, I never said 500.
I think that's like guaranteed at this point.
At least 6-4. That this 10-game stretch, they had to be at least 6-4, preferably 7-3. I think they can go 8-2.
I mean, 4-0 so far. Yeah, Gats on Heat says 24 away games on the next 37, and that's going to be tough. And they, this road heavy schedule. But then the good part is toward the back end of the season, they're going to have a really soft schedule, and they're going to get Oladipo back.
So later this month, right after they finish playing this West Coast trip, so pretty much after this Utah game and the Denver game, they got 2 games back to back in LA, and then they come back home. Actually, they don't go back home. They go to Oklahoma City. So they play pretty much a lot of like the easy teams in the conference, in the Western Conference. So they play the Thunder, then they play the Pelicans, and then they start playing the Wizards, and they play the Wizards again. So like a lot of these teams are not as hard. Like I know the Wizards are good, but they also play the Pistons right after them. So like they start getting some easier competition towards the end of this month. So like if they really do like beat up this part of the schedule, this first half of November, if they actually like come out on top, like go 8-2, 9-1, something like that, they're gonna be a lot of games over 500. I don't know what the math would be, but that's gonna be a pretty big lead for them.
Listen, I hear everything you're saying, but at the same time, I gotta go with my girl Carla Tiana. 10-0, guts, get them, culture.
Could you imagine if this team like pushed the Golden State record for 73-9?
I kind of worry. I kind of worry about like a team.
It's your camera.
I know, dude. It always happens. I kind of worry about a team leaning too hard into that because like typically like teams get really tired by the end. Obviously, you want to have a really great, strong regular season, and I think home court really benefits them. I mean, they're just always really good at home in the playoffs. They don't lose a ton of home games in the playoffs. It's just not really who they are. So I think that Bucks series was weird because they didn't win a home game. Right.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Here's the thing, G. Did you think this Heat team was really like thinking this to start the season? You think they were thinking they were going to be like number 1 in the conference almost through 2
No,
weeks,
and I don't think health will allow that still. You know what I mean? Like I think obviously if they're healthy, like
they're there now though. Like is that something you think they want to try to keep?
I think that they're going to prioritize being healthy, and I think it's good that they have Spo, who's been in it before, who's been top of the conference before, and knows what really matters, right? And I think if they can maintain a top 3 seed, you love that because, you want to avoid one of those.
They look like a top 3 seed. I don't think they're nowhere near a 6 seed no more. Like I feel like we've seen enough in this team to feel definitely at least a home seed, like a top 4
Buddy,
seed.
it just takes one dude to get COVID, and then we saw what they look like without Lowry. So I don't want to be like the party pooper. Like I legit, and listen, I was the one that put on the Heat jersey and started slamming the table on Hangover Time, and I said they're title ready because I think they're fucking title ready. But I'd be careful with regular season expectations because we know they're good. They don't have to kill themselves to prove to us that we know that they're good. I think we know that they're good, and they know that they're good, and they have a couple things to work out, but they need dudes, most importantly, healthy. So if Bam has to sit out this night at the Mavs because they need to get his knee right, because you want to be careful with your franchise center, you can't get upset, right? Like that's going to happen. And if Kyle, has a hand injury in March or in February, like he always does, you got to be like, okay, get your hand right, dude, because we're going to need you healthy in the playoffs. And that's all that matters. Like they know, those people in that building know they've won titles, they've had banners, they've had parades. They're not concerned with these. They're not the Utah Jazz who are really happy with being a 1 seed, right? And they're celebrating and look how great we are. No, that's not what the Heat are about.
It's just crazy that. Go ahead.
I totally agree, and I think this team, especially being a veteran-minded team, they know they're going to pick their spots for rest. It's a marathon. It's not about being the number one overall team in the regular season. It's about being the number one overall team at the end of the season, at the end of the playoffs. But with that being said, to take it back to Brian's initial question, do you think those guys in that locker room expected to be the number one team in the NBA at this point?
This past game that he played, Kyle said in his presser, he didn't expect that they would be this hot this early in the season. Like, he expected them obviously like to be good and gel, but like what they're doing this so far, especially on defense this quickly, it's kind of surprised them.
But see, that's shocking because knowing Jimmy Butler, knowing Bam Adebayo, knowing the type of bravado of the guys that we have in the locker room, I would expect them to think, yeah, we're healthy. There's no reason we shouldn't be the number one team right now.
I think they knew that they'd be contending for a title. I mean, you can't expect this. I mean, they're having a historic point differential. You know what I mean? Like that you can't have expected. And you know what's funny? A lot of the national people aren't talking about this team because I don't feel like they know how to, right? Because let's think about when they made the finals, right? How did Miami play? They had a shit ton of motion offense with a bunch of guys who could shoot the fuck out of the ball. They had 5 or 6 guys shooting above 40% from 3, and they had Jimmy just barreling downhill. They had a bad defense in the regular season. They were like 15th or something. And in the playoffs, because when they traded for Jay Crowder and Andre Iguodala, they were strictly a drop team before that. They trade for those guys and they're like, we're going to lean into switching everything, right? So they have a bunch of switchy wings and Bam. So they're kind of practicing the switch, show hard guard, recover, blah, blah, blah. You know, our motion offense that was like destroying the league with their dribble handoffs and blah, blah, blah. That's how they got to the finals. Last season, none of that shit worked. Their defense was good when the year before that, the defense sucked. And the offense was straight shit because they couldn't get to the rim. They weren't shooting at the same historic rate, and they couldn't get free throws, and they couldn't offensive rebound for shit. So they have played, like, their successes have been so different every year. And I think for the most part, people look at that and say, I don't know what to do with that, right? Like, if you're not watching closely, and Moose, we talked in preseason. I said in preseason, we're watching them. I'm like, these guys aren't treating this shit like preseason. They're playing with the force and an intensity. PJ's jumping into the stands. They're pushing the fucking pace. Like that was a team that they looked different. That shit was special. We saw that in preseason. And like, I know that's kind of stupid to say, but talk to anybody who covered the Warriors the first year they won the title. That in preseason, they were like, oh, they know. Like, we know that this is a special group. And sometimes you just watch a team and you know. And like I said, all throughout this podcast, every statistical indicator that we have gone through would suggest, oh, fuck, this team is really, really good. And everything that you watch would suggest that they're really, really good. That Magic game, Brian, when the Magic are kind of ebbing and flowing and then they're coming back and they're knocking on the door, how many times have we seen that Heat team let go of the rope? You have a shitty quarter, nothing goes in, you start forcing looks, you go back to your bad habits. Not what happened. They shut the fucking door on them. Good teams shut the fucking door at home on bad teams, right? And the Heat are shutting the fucking door on the good teams.
I think what's funny is, like, I've been looking at net ratings by quarters, and like the worst quarter that they've so far played through this entire stretch is obviously overtime because they only played once.
They're like plus 11. They were minus 11, right? I think Christian tweeted that.
But the second quarter was pretty much the only other quarter they're getting outscored in. The third quarter that we're all accustomed to has not really happened much this year. Knock on wood, but like for real, like that, those are quarters that we usually lose in, and we're expanding our leads by like 10 to 15 points in these quarters now.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, so last season, you know, they were just absolutely getting mollywopped when Jimmy Butler would go to the bench. So and I've talked about this a ton, and I thought this was the main I think this was the most important stat of last season. When Jimmy Butler was on the floor, they were plus 7 per 100 possessions, same as the year before. When Jimmy Butler was off the floor, they were minus 7 per 100 possessions. When the year before that, they were 0. So they were basically treading water. And then last season, they were getting absolutely demolished. This season, when Jimmy's on the floor, they're plus 16. When Jimmy's off the floor, they're plus 17.
Mollywopped.
Who says mollywopped? Nobody. I don't know
what
you're getting your shit pushed in. I don't know. Whatever you say.
What's mollywop mean?
Like he just mollywop. I don't know. It's just like
Steamrolled?
Yeah, steamroll.
Yes,
mollywop,
exactly.
obliterate.
But gee, it's like you said, and not to like make it so simple, but you can see when teams are special. You said it. The Warriors were calling it out when they were in the preseason. We saw it. Who's Molly? We saw it early. I knew this team was special when we won that Magic game. And that's not even a joke.
I don't look at that early
game.
season Magic
I thought this
and
team was
early
special.
season Memphis Grizzlies. Fuck that shit. I'd rather play the Bucks and the Warriors.
I thought this team was special after the Bucks game. That took you 3 games?
No,
I mean, like,
needed
they
the
absolutely
Magic
demoed
game.
the
That
Bucks,
was the
but
real test.
No, I mean, like, they demoed the Bucks, and everyone's like,
Milwaukee, like, of course, shot you. Right there.
the people were like, oh, and Chad wants me to apologize to Max Strus. I'll get to that in a second. Hold on. They beat the Bucks, who were missing like 5 starters, and I didn't really give a shit because basically everything that looked good about them in preseason looked good in that Bucks game. And I'm like, that's all I really care about. The shit that I believed in the preseason was real against real competition. And even if they were missing a bunch of players, the 2-time MVP and Defensive Player of the Year was there, right? They had some of their kind of core guys. And I'm like, this is obviously not the end-all indicator, but to me, in that situation, the way that they were playing, the force that they were playing with, against that team, right? That team has fucking history. Miami embarrassed the fuck out of them in the bubble. Absolutely embarrassed them. Like, Jimmy scores over Giannis and goes to an empty gym. He can't fucking guard me, right? And then the Bucks come back and absolutely embarrass the Heat. Bryn Forbes outscores Jimmy Butler. We all know that. So those teams have history, and for them to do that, that matters. Fez is making fun of me. My taste below. How y'all feel about Strus? So I know he's injured. Get well soon, Max. How do you feel like he's performed? Because he's a guy that he was not really in my calculus for them being good.
I think that he deserves an apology from you, G. That's what I think.
I'm sorry, Max. I was wrong.
I've been interested in seeing him in those closing lineups. So in the last couple of games that he's played, I know, especially when Duncan was off, that Spo pretty much went to him like, "Hey, you're playing the rest of this quarter because I don't know if I can rely on Duncan missing more shots to take us out of the game." And he kind of stepped up. This past game, I thought was one of his best. I kind of wanted him to be like that. That was part of the game. Like I kind of knew, like, take these guys out. Like Tyler was in the game for a while too in the last few games. Like when they had these blowout leads, like at a certain point, you really want Spo to just sub them out, bring in the backups, because cases like what happened to Max Strus happened. And it's unfortunate that Max really wanted to go for the highlight reel. I'm not sure why he wanted to be honest.
Always go for the highlight reel.
But he's going to at least it's like this injury. But lucky for him, it was only a bone bruise and not another ACL tear, because he had that injury about 2 years ago when he was with the Chicago Bulls. So just lucky for him, because I think he said in his quote today that when he got the MRI results, he was also surprised too.
Let me say something.
And relieved.
Yeah.
I said Max Strus was not a rotation player. Look right at the camera here. Hold on, wait. I'm sorry, Max Strus. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I don't know.
I kind of like it when you're angled. Yeah. Just keep your face angled from now on.
Chat wants me to like be accountable, and I don't know how much more account. I believe I said that people were like, "Can he average double-digit points?" I was like, "Well, he averaged double-digit minutes." I was
apologize again. Apologize again.
Yeah,
after what
you did again, because Chat's saying that was a weak apology, and you know what?
Max, I'm sorry.
I believe them.
Max, I'm sorry. I fucked up. Okay, I'm here. I'm out. Listen, I'm sorry. You're a good fucking guy. You're a good player. You shoot the ball great. Your defense has improved a ton. I really like your help rotations. You have really active hands, which is really, really good. Especially, if you make a mistake, you have quick hands to kind of correct it. I'm sorry. I don't mean it. I'm sorry.
I, Giancarlo Navas, do not represent the views of all of Miami Heat beat, just my own shitty ones.
Yeah, exactly. So, my bad to Max Strus, who I said should worry about averaging double-digit minutes before.
All right, now apologize to Markieff Morris next.
Let's chill on that. Max is averaging 17 minutes a game. Good for him.
He's been stepping up, too.
Yeah,
you gotta give him some credit.
Yeah.
So, who do you think takes his place these next 2 weeks? Is it going to be Caleb? Are we just all assuming it's Caleb taking his minutes now?
Kind of. I mean,
I think so. Yeah,
they're probably short on the rotation a little bit. and then kind of play.
They were going 9. How much shorter are they going? 8?
I was gonna say, I hope they don't. They can't afford to. Not this early in the year.
Yeah,
I mean, Caleb seemed to do pretty good the last game he played. So I mean, I'd give him at least 10 minutes a game. I don't know if I want Gabe playing at all.
Chat is like, not. What the fuck do you want me to do? There's like, say my apology is not good enough. Hayden CB3 says G sounds like an ex I got caught cheating. What do you want me to do? I said
we're laughing because it's true.
I told that man I was sorry. I doubted him. I will not doubt.
We got receipts, G.
Christian says they have guys that absolutely should get some run. Use that depth. You're 5-1. Who? You're 7?
Well, yeah, I would love to see Yurt get some minutes too. I totally agree with Christian.
He's not getting minutes.
I'm not getting a Struce jersey. Cartilian and Chat wants me to get a Struce jersey. I'm not.
No. We're all getting Devin jerseys before we.
I don't even have a Kyle Lowry jersey yet.
Which we haven't even got into. We haven't even talked about Dedmon in his post yesterday.
Somebody in the Heat, if you're listening, if you like us, if you want to throw me a bone, been a fan all my life. Send me a Kyle Lowry jersey. Pretty please.
Please.
It was his birthday. It was his birthday 2 days ago.
My birthday 2 days ago. Road black, please. Medium. Thank you. Yeah.
While we're on the jersey topic, G, would you mind pulling up Fez Butter's comment, please, about Keith?
Oh yeah.
Because I just very briefly, we got to talk about these ransom note jerseys. We do.
We do.
I see that the timeline, the opinions are polarizing. I thought we were all united at the start.
Charlie says, "No way, G's a medium." Ouch, dog. Ouch. I'm not a medium, but I'm working my way back to. Listen, I lost.
Not setting goals for yourself.
I lost 120 pounds right before the pandemic. Right, I gained some of the weight back because I haven't gone to a gym since the March that this shit started. Listen, Miami Dade County numbers are real low. We're at, I think, 3% infection rate. Christian Hernandez tweeted today. Listen, I'm thinking about going back to the gym. We're going back, baby. We're running again. I'm ready.
Okay, well, back to these ransom jerseys. I thought we were all united that they suck. Now we put out some shit propaganda about, oh, the yellow piping is because of the ropes. Yeah, cool idea. That doesn't mean that they're now nice jerseys. I'm sorry, okay? I don't know when we hired the Riddler as our chief marketing guy to fucking make these jerseys, but put up the bat signal and get them out of here. The only thing I will say is that the court is nice. I like.
No, the court's fire.
The court's cool. The logo's cool. The video that they put out was pretty cool too, with like the glitch effect. It was pretty cool. I liked it. I found the guy who created the jersey, by the way. So if you guys want to complain to anybody, complain to this.
Don't complain to this guy, Brian. Don't do that. Don't put this poor man on blast.
Of course not. Of course not. And I understand like the idea behind it, but Jesus Christ, guys, it looks like we have all of these players hostage on the court. Like, come on, it's not a good look. I don't like it. I'm
pretty sure they're so the people who are making our jerseys are not people who actually work, or I don't know if they work for the Heat. I feel like they're like contracted to work for the Heat. At least the people who made the video team is a company that's from London. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Should I give out the handle? No? Okay, I won't give out the handle, but his first name is Brett. No. So if you guys want to look him up, just search Brett something.
I understand. I put the jersey up. Sorry, it's covering Moose.
No, that's fine. It's fine.
I
keep it up so that people can see it.
Yeah. No, I felt bad. I understand what they were going for here, right? Like, it's not the worst thing in the world, but the weird mishmash of letters, and it really feels like they mailed it in.
Exactly.
I see, like, they were trying to go for like a 90s theme jersey. It's what it seemed like they wanted to go for. Like, I like a Nickelodeon version.
The gold rim, right? The yellow
the gold rim's cool. The shorts are really cool. They have great. They have a little touch on them where it says all the 3 years that they won titles.
It's too many colors that don't go together, right? The purple, red, orange, yellow, pink, black, white. It's just too much shit that doesn't mesh.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
I will give them credit.
I like the back of BAMs.
I think what they should have done, they should have kept the way the numbers are like where you could choose the numbers. They should have just kept one singular like font. Like it should make just a new font in general on the front, and then they could have played around with all the numbers, and I feel like that would have looked 100 times better.
So I will say, like, I do think it's cool that when you buy the jerseys, you can like customize yourself with the number like fonts. I guess that's kind of
the only
cool.
reason to buy it.
I
only reason to buy it.
I just don't really know why you'd want to wear it. I just don't like. It's just I don't know. I maybe call me old school. I'm not like that. I like my fonts to match. I don't know. When I was in design school, that's what we were taught. This is a huge swing. I think it's a miss.
Massive miss. 2 years in a row of a miss.
I'm
sorry, Miami Heat.
I don't hate the Twix jerseys, the tricks jerseys. I don't hate them. I don't like them. I wouldn't buy it. I mean, I wouldn't buy it, but
they're not good. They're the worst of all the Vice jerseys. But
they're
you saw,
fine.
But that was the only thing they could do that was different from all the other Vice jerseys that they had. I think the championship gold ones were a massive
better
miss.
than these, though.
Which ones? The championship gold or the Vice versus?
You know what? Sure, give me the championship gold over these.
The Indiana Pacers jerseys.
I never want them to wear those championship gold jerseys again.
Well, but I'm saying I think they're on.
They wore them in the playoffs and they got demolished.
Yeah, burn them. I don't want to see them again.
By the way, Brian, on that note, just in general, I am not okay with not wearing the white hot classic home on the road and like what the fuck.
I hate that. We're not.
I understand
you want to.
Yeah, you want to showcase the jerseys, but let's stick to some tradition, please. It also just pisses me off.
I like when they go white hot.
Exactly.
I like the red ones. The red ones to me are the most. Obviously, because there's nostalgia too with the 2006 title run.
Yeah.
But this team deserves white hot playoff run.
Yes,
they save it for when the teams are good. This team is good enough that we need white hot.
I agree. I don't think we're ever gonna get that back though. Not
white
like hot? In this incarnation.
White hot playoff run?
I don't think we're gonna get white hot with the Jimmy.
They've done Back in Black like 2 years in a row or 3 years.
Yeah, I don't like Back in Black.
Nobody, and I think it'll stay there.
Nobody fucks with Back in Black. You got listen. When the team is like title good, you gotta run white hot.
I agree with you. I think the Heat is just a little weary of going back to the white hot after the Big Three era and all that.
No, but they did white hot in 2006.
No, but what I'm saying, but then they brought it back for the Big.
You know what they should do?
They bring it back when the team is good. They know what they're doing.
They should wear the Vice jerseys in the playoffs.
No, white hot. Get the fuck out of here.
That would be fun.
When I think of Heat title runs, I think of white hot. It's just why, like, I still haven't processed.
But could you imagine them actually wearing it in the postseason? Like, if they just wore the Vice Nights one.
Thank you, Sir John.
Thank you. I like.
Thank you. That's
Sir
the
John
one
Guard. Give me white hot and Julia Dale at the anthem. You get it. This person gets it. This is a Heat fan.
Tradition.
That's a Heat fan right there. If you don't know, if you know, you know. Yeah, white jerseys. Fez says white jerseys at home, black on the road, red national TV. Yes. Listen, Dwayne won the title
right here.
The first title in the red when he threw the ball up. That was in the Reds. Come on now.
It's just we're just getting out of hand now. Like I'm starting to get.
I think you're right because Dedmon does really look good in this red.
Dedmon looks fire. Dedmon always looks good. Look at that.
Listen, the red jerseys are some of my favorites. They're fire.
No, they're great.
Home white is like it's just. Come on, why are you screwing up something so perfect?
No, yeah, the home Heat home white are a legendary jersey combination. Absolutely incredible. Okay, so we got to get to our man Dwayne Dedmon.
This one's for Moose.
Look at that. Look at those fucking guns right there. Superhero summer.
This motherfucker.
I got to see the new episode actually.
Wait, can continue. G man, allow the show really quickly. Something we're teasing?
No.
Okay. I'm sorry, chat.
We have Dwayne Dedmon here, the mechanic.
The private chat.
The mechanic dressed as the mechanic and tagged us for Halloween, which honestly, Brian, we were gleefully happy in our group chat. I could not believe it.
I could not
believe it. This man dressed up as a mechanic and tagged us and put on Instagram, I'm the mechanic with my Elmo.
And he misspelled and
he misspelled. So it's like, it's an homage to me. I couldn't believe that shit.
And with the hashtag Dedmon's Garage. Like
now,
that's true.
Hangover Time.
Yeah, Alf brought this up in the group chat. A teammate's gonna ask him, "Why the fuck were you a mechanic?"
Yeah,
and Dedmon's gonna have to explain right to his team oh yeah, these guys Hangover Time. They like me. They do this post-game show, and they have they have the Deadman's Garage. I won the award for the Gout Shuffle. Did you know that? Eric Reed liked the tweet. Eric Reed, this is a call out to you, the nicest man on earth. Call Dwayne the Mechanic. He likes it. Come on, you've done justice better on the broadcast. We gotta get this a movement. We really now. I feel like we really got to take this nickname and go. We got to go national with it.
Well, we're coming out with merch. That's for sure. So we will have merch coming I don't even know how soon, but I'm hoping within the next week we will have it up in store. Probably not tomorrow.
Not tomorrow,
but we do have at least two new merch items coming to our Miami Heat Beat store, shop.miamiheatbeat.com. So stay tuned. We will announce it on our Twitter account. So if you don't follow us on Twitter, that is where we will announce it first when it goes live. And that is twitter.com/MIAHeatbeat.
Yeah. Christian says we will not stop until Kirk calls on the Mechanic on live TV. We got to get Will Manson.
Eric Reed. Wait. Eric Reed did also like it too. So he knows about the Mechanic too. So we might hear on the national, not the national telecast, but on the local telecast at least.
Eric Reed hit him with a Justice Better on TV once. That was for us. Eric is a true homie. The way we got to play this, we got to get Will Manso on Hangover Time again, and we got to get this through Will. And listen, I think our way in is Will because Deadman likes it, right? Deadman's in on it, and if Dwayne's in on it, like he clearly likes the nickname. Because I think a lot of times broadcasters are scared that players aren't gonna like the nickname. But Deadman likes it.
I'm still waiting for him to drop a drip drop. He told me he would give me a drip drop.
He's not gonna do a drip drop. Let's move on from drip.
Hit me one time.
Stop trying to make fetch happen, Moose. We have something here. The Mechanic can get off the ground. So
we still gotta get him on the pod. We haven't. I mean, we kind of got him on the pod, but not really. Like, we want to actually have like a one-on-one with him, like we did with Solomon Hill.
Okay, chat. You got to tweet at Will Manso to call Dwayne the Mechanic.
Well, Will and Eric Reed. Let's
start with Will.
No,
we have to roll this out in phases, right? So Will Manso, who does the halftime show, fantastic job, friend of the show, really, truly all around great person,
great dude.
Will Manso. We got to get him to do it, and then after Will starts taking it off the ground, Eric Reed on the bus is going to be like, "Hey, Will, what was that?" And then Will's going to have to explain the thing. And then Eric will somehow say, the Mechanic scores. And that's how we get this to ride.
Can you do your Coach Tony now too?
No, that's it. That's it. That's all you get.
Come on. Your Coach Tony's way better than your Eric Reed.
So we have Dwayne. So that's how we're doing this. So that's our three-phase. That's our three-pronged plan. And it involves getting Will on Hangover.
You know what we need to do too? We need to get Mike Biamonte back on.
Mike Biamonte is not going to do the Mechanic. We got to listen.
We have the connection to make it happen, though.
We need to exhaust all our connections. We have time. We have a whole.
The only thing he's not in the starting lineup. It won't be as effective if he's not in the starting lineup like he was this past game. Yeah, like imagine if he said Dwayne the Mechanic Deadman, like something like that. I don't know.
No,
he won't do that. You can't fuck with the product that much. It has to be a little. Yeah. It has to be a little thing, like a little nickname. You know what I mean?
But I think we could definitely get Will Manso. I think we can get E. Reed. We've got a carburetor situation.